Hello there. What is going on, everyone? It's Moff Gideon time. We've got ourselves a spoilery preview of the Moff Gideon expansion pack for Star Wars Legion. He is the Imperial Remnant commander. We don't know much about the Imperial Remnant battle force just yet, but we do know a lot about Moff Gideon and what his unit card looks like, the dark saber that comes with him, as well as his command cards. So we're going to be talking about all of this today. A little admin stuff first. As you know, we do giveaways all the time. We just had a very successful 12 days of Life Day giveaways. We also had the lightsaber giveaway. We're going to be starting another giveaway very, very soon. If you want to enter to win any of those, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Additionally, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens that are really going to, make your game look more beautiful when you have these just gorgeous tokens on the battlefield. They're metal, they're double-sided, they're shiny, they're absolutely fantastic looking. You can save 15% by using code Crabbok VIP. If you didn't get what you wanted for Christmas, now is your time. You got all those expenses are done. January is the time to buy yourself a little bit of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's time to treat yourself, and you can do that by, don't forget that code. All right, so we're going to talk about this awesome Moff Gideon. He's pretty groovy looking. We're going to start off with his unit card. He is 100 points, and he is a lot for 100 points. He looks really impressive for 100 points. First off, he's got all of his surges, right? He's got surge to crit, red defense die, surge to block. Like, wow, amazing. Like, as far as dice potential, I mean, his attacks are actually good too, although he only has the range 2 for his blaster pistol, but he's got pierce on there in addition to all the best keywords. Red and 2 black for a range 2 pierce. Really good attack if you happen to be in range 2. If you're in melee, he's got advanced combat training, which is 2 red dice, which is, nice. Of course, I think a lot of people may want to bring him with the dark saber, but we're going to talk about that afterwards. He has 2 command, he has training, he has gear, and he has a weapon for his upgrade slots. He is a commander. There's only one of them. He is Courage 3 commander also, which is pretty significant. 5 health, which is about right. He's kind of on par with Mandalorians. I almost feel like he might be wearing Beskar armor and we don't know it. Like, he's not wearing like the normal plastoid like stormtrooper armor or that like General Veers might wear. I think he has got his own personal Beskar stash kind of lining his armor. I think that's kind of where they come in with this. He also has all kinds of cool stuff. Like, the biggest thing is Entourage Imperial Dark Trooper. Even though that's in the middle, I want to talk about that first because that's insane. That was my first thought is, oh my gosh, I have to buy 3 Dark Troopers now. That's crazy. So initially it was like, all right, well, who's going to have to buy 2 Dark Troopers? This guy's like, no, you're going to have to buy 3 Dark Troopers. Deal with it. Wow. All right. Anyway, I got those. What do the kids got these for Christmas? And I'm just like looking for every opportunity I can to just like, I'm trying to do that. I feel like that's what he's gonna be like when he's just like, oh yes, I brought 3 Dark Troopers. I mean, that's just insane. Now, there has been a little bit of confusion. Dark Troopers are a heavy. I think initially they were listed on the website as a special forces. They are not a special forces. They are a heavy. And so this means you can run a triple heavy. The first ever triple heavy list is actually going to be Dark Troopers. I'll run triple walkers, but that ain't happening. It's going to be triple dark trooper. Well, I mean, you could run two walkers and a dark trooper, or some combination thereof, which is really interesting. But yes, because Entourage, not only does it let you issue them in order automatically, but it also lets you include them and ignore their rank. So you're able to still have 2 more heavies on top of the one that you're including with Entourage. Now, in larger games, this means that you could, there's now 3 different Entourage units for the Imperials. Once upon a time, it was kind of crazy to try to run, Krennic and Palpatine with, running both Entourages and running 5 special forces. That was more of a gimmick. It wasn't actually very good because you didn't have enough points left over to really make any of the units do great things. But now there being a 3rd Entourage, you could really kind of break a lot of the rules this way, but you're not going to be able to fit all of those. Especially heavies tend to be the most expensive units in the game. So, you're probably not going to do any super crazy shenanigans. I don't expect Gideon to show up in any double entourage lists. Although in theory it is possible. I just don't expect that to happen. Although if it did, maybe it would be with Krennic and probably not with Palpatine. Although Palpatine could still work here. I mean, I'm not going to lie. He could potentially still work. I could see Palpatine maybe pulling the strings on Dark Troopers, right? But yeah, the Entourage Imperial Dark Trooper thing is just absolutely crazy. And it's going to factor in differently when we look at some of the command cards too. But let's look at some of the other stuff that he's got. First off, he's got Observe 1 as a free action. So during his turn, he can toss out an Observe token for free. Like, that's so cool. That's a reroll for anybody. And they can choose when they want to use it. And of course, that can stack with other Observe things. If you've got, if you've got other units out there that are putting out Observe tokens, or if you've got other stuff that happens to give Observe, this is really cool. He's got Sharpshooter 1 and Tactical 1. Great keywords, right? Good at shooting, aim for shooting. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're gonna have to make that range 2 shot, you're gonna have to move in and shoot anyway. So it allows him to. It kind of makes the range 2 not feel like range 2. It makes it feel like it's almost like a range 3 attack, isn't it? You can move, aim, and still shoot, which is really good. He's speed 2, so that's all good stuff. Much more of a warrior than I gave him credit for. You didn't kind of see that much of the warrior ethos from him in the show. I think they made him out a little tougher here than I would have made him if I was trying to design him. I thought he was a little cowardly, the way he kind of cheap shotted Mando and stuff like that. I don't think he was all that crazy, but I mean, he was definitely certainly brave when he had a whole bunch of troops by his side. That's when he showed his bravery. But here he's a complete ninja. And he's got Ruthless. Now, Ruthless is an all-new ability. This is really nasty. When another friendly core trooper unit at range 2 and in line of sight has a face-up order token, or that has a face-up order token activates, it may suffer a wound to perform a free action. This is so nice. There's going to be a lot of stuff that goes into this. I honestly think that this guy is worth a lot more than 100 points. I have a feeling Moff Gideon is going to be in a ton of lists. And this is before we even find out any of the benefits that might come with an Imperial Remnant battle force. I feel like he is so good and can do so many things. Like, free actions are massive. Like, Darth Vader has a command card that can grant free actions. Like, I'm thinking Moff Gideon and Snowtroopers immediately. Love that. They do have to be core. Right? But there's so many things you can do with that. And again, for suffering one wound, especially for like somebody with steady to be able to move again, like imagine Snowtroopers being able to move 3 times and then still shoot. Insanity. I love it. So Sharpshooter 1, also pretty good. Not as crucial on a range 2 guy, but still nice. And then Tactical 1, which is much better on him. Surge to crit also being like absolutely wonderful. He's got a really, really respect. And for 100 points, are you kidding me? Nice, very nice. I would have thought like 130 for this guy. So moving forward, he also can equip the Darksaber. Now this would bring him to 115 if you give him this, and this is really nice because he kind of wants to be close up anyway. Like, I don't think he's not a character that wants to stay in the back. They made him a character that wants to lead from the front. And of course the Darksaber is going to allow him to do that. He gains Demoralize 1, so he can put out those he can put out suppression, like kind of like with the fear. He's almost like a Jedi, right? He really is almost like a Jedi. When defending against a melee attack, he gains Immune to Pierce. He's got Impact 1 and Pierce 1, so he's like a Jedi Junior in this case. He doesn't even need dodge tokens, though. He's not going to deflect, but he is always going to have that Surge to block with red defense dice. So in some cases, in some ways, he's better than a Jedi. Courage 3 also. Like, dude, he's going to be fierce. He's going to be fierce. He's going to be tough to kill. He's going to do nasty things. And his command cards are also really cool. So let's talk about these command cards. First up, let's talk about this one. This is a pretty good one. This is kind of like his Jedi mode. Die at my hand. Moff Gideon gains Relentless, an aim token, and a dodge token this round. I don't think he's going to need the dodge token as much, but might as well. The aim token is good. Probably doesn't need that as much either, because he's going to be probably move, and slice you down. probably doesn't need too many aims with 5 black dice and surge to crit built in already, but that's cool. And I wonder if it's going to, you know, like he doesn't have like marksman or anything like that, so like I'm just wondering, like, well, okay, I feel like really Relentless is what you want this card for. The aim token will be nice. The dodge token is cool too, but you know, I guess maybe in case you're already in melee, like if you start, like somebody engages you and then you have to play this one, you get that aim token right away. So it gives you a little more flexibility. It doesn't have to be played as a movement to contact card. It can be played as a, oh, you moved into me, and so now I'm going to fight back. And so it lets you start with that aim so you don't have to move there. Of course, if that happens, then you don't necessarily need the Relentless part as much, but either way, it's all around. It's a pretty solid card. It's, you know, there's nothing crazy about it. It's pretty straightforward. His 2-pip, we've seen this one already, but I'll go through it for the sake of completion. You have something I want. It's his 2-pip. This is the one that works on Dark Troopers. This is one that you will not use if you're not using Dark Troopers. And so this one can give, it can order 2 units. Again, no restrictions on this one, which is a good thing. And it's going to let you reposition them. This card cannot be chosen during the first round, however, and I think that's a good thing. But this means it's almost always going to be a round 2 pick. Or maybe you won't use it at all. Maybe people will just think that it's coming. And this is I think, a more important card than a lot of people think. Because it's not just about repositioning. It's about your opponent knowing that this card exists and fearing the reposition. You're like, I can't leave a range 2 gap. I got to keep all my guys spread out. And you're like, fine, good, because I got push instead of you have something I want, but they won't know that, right? So like there's all these mind games that are going to come in with this card too. Very cool. And the command cards that make your opponents fear them coming out are the best command cards, and this one can do that. It says this card cannot be chosen during the first round. After all orders have been issued, choose a friendly Imperial Dark Trooper unit that has a face-up order token. Remove that unit from the battlefield, keeping all tokens, then place it on the battlefield beyond range 2 of enemy units, then flip their order token face down. Yeah, so basically it lets them teleport. Now remember, Dark Troopers, we're going to talk more about them when we get the full Dark Trooper preview, but remember they get 2 orders each, right? So even though they're flipping them face down, they're going to be able to activate again at some point. But this is really great for objective control, for like last minute shenanigans. Just really cool stuff. And then we have Moment of Consideration. This one is my favorite. This one is everything I want my Legion games to be, in that I either win or lose right away, and it's glorious, and the game's over in 15 minutes, and then we play another game. It has that potential, I feel like. A Moment of Consideration, this is a 3-pip, and great art on this too, by the way. They have really great art on all of these, but this is 3 core or heavy units. So, and again, I feel like that's what Moff Gideon wants to be running. He wants to be running heavies and cores. I don't feel like he doesn't seem like he's geared very well to deal with supports. Because even though like there was an E-web in this scene here, you know, I don't know. I'm curious. I have a feeling they're going to come out with like some kind of alternate unit card for the E-web, and maybe an alternate unit card for the Flame Trooper miniature and the Star Wars from the Snow Trooper unit. Like I feel like they ought to do that for this Battle Force, just like they did with those, the specialized Stormtrooper unit card for, you know. I feel like that should happen here. I think that would be a cool thing. Anyhow, units issued orders by this card gain fire support this round. Fire support. I love fire support. And now you're able to give units issued by this card fire support. Now, so, interesting thing, there's a lot to unpack here. At first, let's talk about the first thing. You're probably bringing some Dark Troopers. Now, let's point out the obvious. He has Entourage Dark Trooper, so he's going to be issuing a Dark Trooper an order token with his Entourage ability. Usually, right? I mean, it's a free thing. You might as well use it as often as possible. If you do that when you play this card, that Dark Trooper is not going to be able to have fire support. So that's what Dark Trooper you'll want to activate normally, because it has to be units issued orders by this card. Now, there currently isn't a very official or very, very easy way to mark like what unit is issued an order by this card or not. So you probably have to grab some kind of token or something, some kind of way to mark them. If you have lots of other, like let's say you have HQ uplinks out there and all kinds of other stuff. Let's say you've got shore troopers, and you issue like 3 shore troopers, the upgrade, but then they all forward it to the little mortar. Well, then the mortars didn't get it from that card, and in those cases maybe it'll be easy to remember, but you may want to have like a penny or something like that to mark those with, or something to that effect. So let's talk about fire support. I mean, I love fire support. It's a super fun ability. It's a great way to add dice to a dice pool. And it really makes me think, boy, if I'm going to have that much fire support available, do I want to also run him with like Vader and then do like a saber throw, and then all of a sudden have an ATST in the background, which is a heavy, right? Fire supporting into that. Now all of a sudden I've got Pierce 3 with this massive dice pool, really cool stuff. Really, I mean, that's one of the problems I have with Vader and saber throw. While it's a great attack, so many times you're throwing into cover, and as you have Pierce 3, and then if you're lucky enough to just get all 3 hits, then you're great. But a lot of times it's like 2 hits and a surge, and so I'm like, like a saber throw just doesn't always work. But if I have fire support for Vader, especially, and you can do it, you can always have done that with a mortar, but the mortar's got the crazy long range, and everything has to be lined up just right, and it's only white dice. And so, but that's still cool. But I mean, imagine having a better dice pool that you can do that with. Obviously, if you're running multiple Dark Troopers, you can fire support with them. We haven't seen all of the heavies for them. We don't know the entire capabilities of that unit yet. So, this is probably going to get better once we take a look at it. Obviously, this feels like it's built for Dark Troopers to have fire support. However, I mean, we also know that the Empire has some groovy vehicles, ATSTs, right? Also, if I'm not mistaken, the fire support rulings do say that if you have Arsenal 2, or if you have Arsenal, you can fire that many weapons into your fire support pool. So, like, if I have a Moff Gideon shooting, or Stormtrooper shooting, whatever, and I decide I want to take an ATST and have him fire support into it, then I should be able to add 2 weapons if both the weapons are legal, like if they're at the appropriate range and all the requirements are met. If it's fixed front, he'd have to be in fixed front, so on and so forth, which is cool. However, if you're running Vice, you're not going to be able to have Arsenal 4 and add all 4 weapons in a fire support attack, because you only gain Arsenal 4 when you activate him during his activation. And if you're during his activation, then you're not going to be using him for fire support, right? So my thought is run 2 ATSTs and a Dark Trooper, or something like that, and have Vice on one, and then have the other one. You can even have the other one like bare bones, or maybe just one gun. You might not even need the Imperial Hammer's pilot on there if you're going to primarily be using. Well, I don't know if you'd primarily use him for fire support, but you could get away with it here because you have a unit with surge to crit doing the attack, or whatever. Like, then you don't, it doesn't. That's a cool thing. Or if you get ionized, you can be like, oh, I'm not even going to activate him this turn. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to fire support him, which is cool. It's cool protection against ion as well, at least for 1 round. I mean, if there's ever a way to get this card back, like Han and Chewie getting cards back. If you could ever get this card back into your hand, like that'd be a game changer. 2 rounds of this would be nuts. But so my theory is, you take Vice. All right, Arsenal 4, I got all the weapons or whatever. I'm going to have 4 separate attack pools. So you can only have 1 fire support on any given attack pool, all right? But if I'm splitting fire 4 ways, each one of those should be able to get a fire support, right? Well, granted, I'm only going to have 3 fire supports with this card, but let's just say I have, somebody else that's maybe I've got a mortar out there also that has a face up, so I could potentially get lots of different fire supports. And my goodness, if everything lined up correctly, you could erase 4 units in 1 activation of like a Vice with like 4 fire supports. Now, granted, most of your list is going to be activated in a single turn, but goodness gracious, wouldn't that be incredible? What an incredible, like, oh, this turn I'm going with everything. It would be like a 40k match where you're just like, oh, I'm firing, I'm rolling this fistful of dice at this guy, this fistful of dice at this guy, this fistful of dice at this guy, and this fistful of dice at that one. Insanity. I love it. I think it's so fun and cool. aims will be important though, because could you imagine if you do get to roll like 18 dice at somebody and you just don't get it, right? Like you just don't get. You have like 90% blanks, then you just say like, all right, game's over. I concede, turn one. So I love it. I think it's the most fun card I've seen in a long time. And I'm blown away. It's super exciting. I can't wait to see more. I want to hear from you guys though. There is one thing that I saw some people talking about. And this was asked in my Discord. Again, if you're not already in the Discord, you should be. It's a great family-friendly Discord. We talk about Star Wars gaming. And they were talking about Ruthless. And so I'm going to leave you with this question. Do we think that Ruthless here is a typo? Because it says, when another friendly core trooper at range 2 and in line of sight that has a face-up order token activates, it may suffer a wound to perform a free action. Do we think that the unit must be at exactly range 2, or is it up to range 2? I ask this because this is like a rules lawyering question that players who have played Armada are familiar with, where the intent, might have been the range 2 bubble, but in this case, no, that doesn't say up to range 2. It says at range 2, which means if somebody's at range 1, they do not qualify for it, right? I have a feeling that this is a typo. There have been so many typos lately. I don't know what to really believe here, but I'm really curious about that. And maybe by the time you're reading this, they will have FAQ'd it, or it may have been answered already. But that was one of the things that I thought was worth kind of raising an eyebrow over. I'm like, all right, or is that some kind of, because if something can be at range 2, but like it can't be in range 1, and that just causes like, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be a little bit problematic, but who knows? But maybe that also factors into the new rules. Maybe in the new rules that are coming out in a week and a half, maybe in those new rules, at range 2 is defined as anything within a range 2 bubble, including range 1. Who knows? There's a lot of that stuff that we have to take into consideration. Maybe fire support will fundamentally change also. There's a lot of things that we don't really know. I don't think that's the case though, because I think we got the biggest bullet points already. Guess we're gonna have to wait and see. All right, guys. As more Star Wars Legion news comes out, we'll be talking about it. Also, stay tuned for more X-Wing, Armada, Shatterpoint, all kinds of cool stuff. We've even got some more Dungeons and Dragons Onslaught to talk about very soon, and I will leave you with that. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. If you're interested in checking out Patreon, there are links in the video description below. May the Force be with you. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. Happy hallelujah and goobala toopala boobala jingo bamba dooba.